The discovery at Nexus Prime. The dust of Nexus Prime swirled around Dr. Sarah Chen's boots as she knelt beside the massive stone structure that had taken her team 3 months to uncover. The archaeological site stretched far beyond what any of them had imagined when they first detected the anomalous readings from orbit. What they had expected to find was perhaps another relic from the Zelthrian Empire, maybe some ancient alien technology worth studying. What they had found instead was something that challenged everything the galaxy believed about its own history. Sarah brushed dirt away from a series of carved symbols, her heart racing as the familiar patterns became clearer. These weren't Zelthrian markings, nor did they belong to any of the known ancient civilizations catalogued by the Galactic Archaeological Council. These symbols looked almost like ancient Earth scripts, but that was impossible. Humans had only achieved interstellar travel 300 years ago, barely a blink of an eye in galactic terms. The carbon dating of these ruins suggested they were over 2 million years old. Commander Zeth Kolvak, the Draxian military officer assigned to protect the expedition, approached with his usual measured stride. His 4 arms moved with practiced efficiency as he checked his scanner readings. "Dr. Chen, my sensors are detecting massive energy signatures beneath this structure. Whatever lies below is still active after all these millennia." Sarah stood, wiping sweat from her forehead, as she looked at the towering alien beside her. Zeth had been skeptical of this mission from the beginning, assigned by the Council more as a watchdog than genuine protection. But over the past months, his attitude had shifted. He had begun to see what she was seeing, and it troubled him as much as it excited her. Professor Marcus Webb, Sarah's longtime colleague and the expedition's linguist, emerged from a nearby excavation pit with dirt covering his graying beard and excitement lighting his eyes. "Sarah, you need to see this immediately. I found something that changes everything we thought we knew about galactic history." The 3 of them descended into the underground chamber Marcus had discovered. The walls were covered in the same strange script, but here the markings were accompanied by star charts and technical diagrams that boggled the mind. The technology depicted in these ancient drawings was far beyond anything the current galactic civilizations possessed. As they moved deeper into the complex, emergency lighting flickered to life automatically, powered by some unknown energy source that had remained functional for millions of years. The architecture was both alien and strangely familiar, with proportions that seemed designed for beings roughly human-sized. "These measurements," Marcus said, running his hands along the walls, "they're all based on what appears to be human proportions. The doorways, the ceiling height, even the spacing of these control panels. It's as if this entire complex was built by and for humans." Sarah's communication device crackled to life. It was Dr. Yenna Korthak, their Zentorian team member who had remained at the surface camp. Her voice carried an edge of panic. "Dr. Chen, we have council ships approaching fast. Multiple vessels, military configuration. They're demanding immediate evacuation of all personnel." Zeth's expression darkened. "That's impossible. We filed all proper reports. This is a legitimate archaeological expedition under council protection." Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the underground temperature. "They're here to shut us down. Whatever we found, someone doesn't want it discovered." The trio moved quickly through the complex, their portable scanners recording everything they could before the inevitable confrontation above. In the deepest chamber they had yet discovered, they found something that stopped them all in their tracks. A massive crystalline structure hummed with gentle energy at the room's center, and floating within it was what appeared to be a human figure, perfectly preserved. But as they approached, they realized it wasn't a person at all. It was some kind of advanced artificial intelligence construct, and as they drew near, it began to activate. The crystal cleared, and a holographic projection materialized before them. The figure was unmistakably human in appearance, but there was something ancient and vast in its eyes that spoke of eons of accumulated knowledge. "I am Aria." The projection spoke in perfect standard galactic, though Sarah could swear she detected traces of ancient Earth languages in its pronunciation. I have waited 2.3 million years for someone to find this place. You are human, are you not? Sarah nodded, too stunned to speak. Then you are my children's children, countless generations removed. You have forgotten who you truly are, what you once were. The council has seen to that. Marcus stepped forward. What do you mean? Humans only achieved space travel 3 centuries ago. We're one of the youngest species in the galaxy. Aria's expression grew sad. No, child. You are the oldest. Your ancestors built the first starships, established the first galactic trade routes, created the technologies that all current civilizations still depend upon. But we saw what our power had wrought. We saw the fear in other species as they developed, the way they looked upon us as gods or demons. So we made a choice. The hologram gestured, and the walls around them came alive with images from the distant past. Vast human ships moving between stars, human scientists working alongside the primitive ancestors of what would become the modern galactic species, human teachers helping younger civilizations develop their own technologies. We chose to sleep, Aria continued, to withdraw from galactic affairs and allow the younger species to find their own way. Most of us entered stasis chambers hidden throughout the galaxy. Our technology was disguised or attributed to other sources. Our history was allowed to fade into legend, then into nothing. Zeth's scanner beeped urgently. The council ships are landing. We have perhaps 10 minutes before they reach us. Sarah looked at the ancient eye. Why are you telling us this now? Why wake up after all this time? Because the galaxy is in danger, Aria replied. The same forces that drove us into hiding are rising again. The council you know today is not the same organization your ancestors helped establish. It has been infiltrated by those who would use the galaxy's ignorance of human history to control all species, including yours. The sound of heavy boots echoed from the tunnels above. The council forces were moving faster than expected. You must take this knowledge and spread it, Aria said urgently. The galaxy deserves to know the truth, and humanity deserves to reclaim its birthright, not as conquerors, but as the teachers and protectors we once chose to be. A small crystal detached itself from the larger structure and floated toward Sarah. This contains proof of everything I have told you. Star charts showing human settlements throughout the galaxy, genetic records proving your species' age, technological specifications that will revolutionize your understanding of physics itself. Sarah grasped the crystal just as council soldiers burst into the chamber. Their leader, a tall Centaurian in council military dress, raised his weapon. Dr. Chen, you and your team are under arrest for violation of galactic security protocols. You will surrender all artifacts and data immediately. Zeth stepped between the soldiers and the human archaeologists, his own weapon drawn. Under what authority? This is a sanctioned expedition. Under the authority of Councillor Vextheri and the Emergency Powers Act, the soldier replied. This site has been classified as a threat to galactic stability. Behind them, Aria's projection flickered. The crystal is encoded with quantum encryption. Only human genetic markers can unlock its full contents. They can destroy the messenger, but the message will survive. Sarah clutched the crystal tighter. Marcus, Zeth, we need to get this information out of here. There's a surface tunnel behind this chamber, Zeth said, his tactical training evident as he assessed their options. I can hold them here while you escape. I'm not leaving you behind. Sarah protested. You must, Zeth replied firmly. I understand now what's at stake. For too long, my people and others have lived under the Council's lies. If what this AI says is true, then everything we've been taught about galactic history is a fabrication designed to keep us under control. Marcus was already moving toward the tunnel Zeth had indicated. Sarah, he's right. This discovery is bigger than any of us. The galaxy needs to know. As Council soldiers advanced, Sarah made the hardest decision of her career. She followed Marcus into the narrow tunnel, the crystal's warmth pulsing against her palm like a heartbeat. Behind them, she could hear Zeth engaging the soldiers, buying them precious time. The tunnel led to a natural cave system that emerged several kilometers from the main excavation site. As they reached the surface, Sarah could see the massive council ships hovering over their former camp, their searchlights sweeping the ground in systematic patterns. "They're not just shutting down our expedition," Marcus observed grimly. "They're sterilizing the entire site." Even from their distant position, they could see energy beams lancing down from the ships, systematically destroying everything they had spent months uncovering. The ancient complex, HFY's chamber, all evidence of humanity's true history was being erased before their eyes. But Sarah still held the crystal, and its gentle glow seemed to suggest that not everything was lost. As they made their way toward their emergency extraction point, she activated her long-range communicator and began transmitting on every frequency she could access. "This is Dr. Sarah Chen of the Nexus Prime Archaeological Expedition. I am broadcasting a message of critical importance to all free species of the galaxy. The history you have been taught is a lie. Humanity is not a young species that stumbled into space by accident. We are the galaxy's oldest civilization, and we have been deliberately hidden from you." The crystal pulsed brighter as her words went out across the stars, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, other ancient systems began to stir. The awakening had begun, and no force in the galaxy would be able to stop what was coming. As Sarah and Marcus reached their ship and prepared to flee into the depths of space, they had no idea that their transmission had been received by far more than just the normal communication networks. Ancient receivers, dormant for millennia, had caught their signal and begun broadcasting it to hidden facilities across the galaxy. The truth about humanity was about to reshape everything. The Awakening Protocol. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened just 18 hours after Dr. Sarah Chen's transmission had spread across every major communication network in known space. Councillor Vextheri stood before the assembled representatives of 47 species, his usually composed demeanor showing cracks of strain that had not been visible in his 3 centuries of political service. "The situation has escalated beyond our initial containment protocols," he announced to the circular chamber where species from across the galaxy gathered to make decisions that affected trillions of lives. "The Chen transmission has been amplified by unknown sources and has reached every corner of civilized space." What Vextheri did not tell the assembly was that the amplification had not come from rebel broadcasters or underground networks. It had come from systems that predated the Council itself, ancient relay stations that had been dormant so long that most species had forgotten they existed. The technology was so old and so advanced that current galactic science could not even detect it, let alone shut it down. On the outer rim world of Kepler 442 bits, Captain Elena Rodriguez was conducting routine cargo inspections when the transmission reached her small trading vessel. Elena had been born on Earth, but had spent most of her adult life moving between human colonies, carrying supplies and maintaining the fragile connections between humanity's scattered settlements. She was practical, tough, and had never given much thought to ancient history or archaeological discoveries. But as Dr. Chen's words echoed through her ship's communication system, something extraordinary began to happen. Images flashed through Elena's mind, visions of vast ships moving through space, of humans working alongside species she had never seen before, of technologies that seemed to belong to dreams rather than reality. She stumbled to her captain's chair, her head spinning as memories that were not her own flooded her consciousness. She saw herself, or someone who looked exactly like her, standing on the bridge of a ship that dwarfed anything in the current galactic fleet. She saw humans teaching the early Draxians how to harness fusion energy, helping the Zentorians develop their first interstellar communication systems, working with species whose names have been lost to history. "This isn't possible," she whispered to herself, but even as she spoke the words, she knew they were true. Somehow, the knowledge of her ancestors was awakening within her genetic memory, triggered by the revelation that humanity's true history was finally being revealed. Elena was not alone. Across the galaxy, humans began experiencing similar awakenings. In the research stations of Proxima Centauri, in the mining colonies of the Kepler system, in the diplomatic courts on Nexus Central, humans everywhere found themselves remembering things they had never learned, understanding technologies they had never studied. Dr. Sarah Chen, still fleeing through space aboard her small research vessel, monitored the growing chaos through intercepted council communications. The crystal AI had given her continued to glow brighter with each passing hour, and she began to understand that it was not just a data storage device. It was a trigger designed to activate something much larger. "Marcus, look at these readings," she called to her colleague, who was hunched over their sensor array. "Energy signatures are appearing throughout the galaxy. Massive structures are powering up after millions of years of dormancy." Marcus turned from his instruments, his face pale with awe and fear. "Sarah, I'm detecting 17 separate activations just in this sector alone. Whatever your transmission started, it's not just waking up sleeping humans. It's waking up sleeping technology." Commander Zeth Kolvac, who had unexpectedly escaped the Council forces on Nexus Prime through the intervention of his own crew, was aboard a stolen Council ship racing toward the galactic core. His own people, the Draxians, had been among the first to question the official story being broadcast by Council propaganda networks. Many Draxians remembered their own ancient legends, stories of the first teachers who had helped their ancestors reach for the stars. "Commander," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a direct transmission. It's coming from the direction of the galactic center, but it's using frequencies our technology shouldn't be able to detect." The voice that emerged from their speakers was calm, ancient, and unmistakably human. "To all free beings of the galaxy, this is the collective consciousness of the human ancients. We have slept for 2 million years, allowing younger species to find their own paths among the stars. But our sleep was not natural. It was enforced by those who feared what we represented, who sought to control galactic development for their own purposes." Across the galaxy, the transmission continued. "The organization you know as the Galactic Council was originally established as a forum for peaceful cooperation between species. But over the millennia, it has been corrupted by individuals who saw opportunity in humanity's absence. They have rewritten history, suppressed knowledge, and maintained their power by keeping species divided and ignorant of their true potential." On the Council's central world, Vex Theri and his inner circle watched their carefully constructed order begin to crumble. Species after species was withdrawing from Council authority, demanding access to the suppressed historical records, questioning decades of official policy. "Sir," one of his aides reported nervously, "the human colonies are no longer responding to our directives. Captain Rodriguez has somehow taken control of the entire Kepler defense fleet, and her ships are moving toward Earth at maximum speed." Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of what had once been a simple cargo hauler, but was now somehow transformed into something far more advanced. The awakening genetic memories had not just given her knowledge of the past, they had shown her how to activate technologies that had been hidden within seemingly ordinary human equipment for centuries. "All ships, maintain formation." She commanded a fleet that had grown from dozens to hundreds as more humans answered the call echoing in their genetic memory. "We're going home to reclaim our birthright, not as conquerors, but as the species we were always meant to be." Dr. Chen's research vessel had been joined by Zeth's stolen council ship and dozens of other vessels carrying representatives from species across the galaxy. The coalition was growing as more civilizations learned the truth about their own histories and the role humans had played in their development. "AI's quantum encryption is breaking down throughout the galaxy," Sarah reported to her growing fleet of allies. "The ancient AI systems are sharing information freely now. Every species is learning how much of their technology, their culture, even their biological development was influenced by human guidance millions of years ago." The revelation was staggering. The Centaurians discovered that their famous mathematical theorems had been taught to their ancestors by human mentors. The Draxians learned that their military traditions were based on ancient human philosophies of honor and protection. Species after species found connections to humanity's ancient past that had been deliberately obscured. As Alina's fleet approached Earth, they found it transformed. Ancient structures were emerging from the oceans, from mountain ranges, from polar ice caps. The planet that had been considered a primitive backwater was revealing itself to be the most technologically advanced world in the galaxy, its wonders hidden beneath millions of years of patient camouflage. This is Alina Rodriguez to all human colonies and all free species. She broadcasts as her ship entered Earth's orbit. Today we reclaim not just our history, but our future. The age of deception is ending. The age of cooperation begins now. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Ships from every human colony, joined by vessels from allied species, converged on Earth. The planet's ancient defense systems, dormant for eons, powered up to welcome them home. Counselor Vextheri made one final attempt to maintain control, broadcasting threats and ultimatums across the galaxy. But his words fell on deaf ears. The species of the galaxy had tasted truth after millennia of lies, and they would not go back to ignorance. In the depths of space, ancient human facilities continued to come online, their AI consciousnesses reaching out to make contact with their awakened descendants. The galaxy was changing, not through conquest or domination, but through the simple power of truth finally revealed. Sarah Chen stood in the restored chambers beneath Earth's surface, the crystal from ARIS still glowing in her hands, now just one of thousands of similar devices that were sharing humanity's true history with anyone willing to listen. Around her, humans and aliens worked together as they had millions of years ago, building a future based on cooperation rather than control. "We have so much to remember," Marcus said, looking at star charts that showed human influence stretching across the entire galaxy. "So much to rebuild." "Not rebuild," Sarah corrected, watching as young humans worked alongside Draxian engineers and Centaurian scientists, their genetic memories guiding them to rediscover technologies beyond current understanding. "We're not going back to what we were. We're becoming what we were always meant to be." The galaxy had awakened to its true history, and in that awakening, it had found hope for a future none of them had dared to imagine. Humanity had returned not as rulers, but as teachers once again, ready to guide the younger species toward possibilities that stretched beyond the stars themselves. The hidden truth had been unveiled, and with it, the galaxy would never be the same again.